All right, guys, today we're going to solve equations and inequalities that have absolute value in them. Absolute value, 2 bars, 2 answers. Talk about that tomorrow. All right, when A is positive and you have an algebraic expression like this, like the one below here, if you have absolute value of x equals A, what that basically means is x could be positive A or negative A, because absolute value means how far a number is, or the distance the number is from 0 on the number line. So if you were to have, let me show you this next slide. If you have absolute value of x equals 5, it's basically asking you what 2 numbers are 5 away from 0 on the number line. And of course, 5 is 5 away from 0 on the number line, but so is negative 5. So those would be your 2 solutions right there, 5 or negative 5. So that's why I said earlier 2 bars, 2 answers, because usually when you see 2 absolute value bars, usually you're going to find 2 solutions. So let's look at another one. Absolute value of x minus 3 minus 1 equals 4. Now, but when you start solving these, what you need to do first is always isolate the absolute value first. So I'm moving the 1 to the other side, make that 5. Now, stop right here a second. No, absolute value is distance, so it must equal a positive number. So absolute value equals 5, that's fine. That means that's 5 away from 0. So it's basically asking you, what 2 numbers are 5 away from 0 on the number line? Well, 5 and negative 5. Which means x minus 3 has to equal 5, or x minus 3 has to equal negative 5, because those are the 2 numbers that are 5 away from 0 on the number line. So move the 3 over, you get 8. Over here, move the 3 over, you get negative 2, and those are your 2 solutions. And that's all there is to it when you're solving equations. Okay, let's look at inequalities real quickly. Inequalities, if you have... I think you've been taught this before. If you have absolute value and less than, it's going to be an and problem. It's going to look like that. Conjunction is going to be your answer. If you have absolute value and greater than, it's going to be an or problem like that right there. And that's also true if it's less than equal to or greater than equal to. That's true. So less than, greater than is kind of how you can tell the difference. And I'll give you another way tomorrow when you come to class. Let's look at a couple here. Okay, just think through this a second. It says absolute value of x is less than 3, which that's asking you what numbers are less than 3 away from 0 on the number line. Okay, not quite 3 away. So that would be like numbers like 0, 1, 2, 2.5, negative 1, negative 2, negative 2.5. Everything that is in between, basically, positive 3 and negative 3, but not including those, everything in here would be less than 3 away from 0 on the number line. That's why it works that way. That's why it's an and why it comes together like that. This one, greater than, means the distance is greater than 1 away from 0. So it would be like 1, 2 is further than 1 away, 3 is further than 1 away. You could keep going forever. And also you could start at negative 1 and do the same thing. Okay, so here, the numbers that are more than 1 away from 0 on the number line would be greater than 1, or, big word, less than or equal to 1. Okay, so that's what happens. So if you see less than, it's going to be an and problem. If you see greater than, it's going to be an or problem. So this last one, I see less than, so I know up front that it's going to be less than 4 away from 0, which is going to put you between positive 4 and negative 4. All right, so if you notice the numbers I used also were opposites, like I used a negative 3, positive 1, oops, that should have been negative 1 right there, negative 1, and I used negative 4, positive 4. That's going to be true on all of these, just like it was on the equations earlier. All right, try a couple here. Solve and graph this one. It's less than, so I know that's going to be, I'm thinking already, that means the numbers are less than 5 away from 0, which, puts you between 5 and negative 5. If you think about a number line, those are the numbers that are less than 5 away from 0. To solve that, I'm just going to add, I'm not going to add, I'm going to subtract 2, come on, subtract 2 from all 3 sides. And I get 3x. Over here I get 3. Over here I get negative 7. So divide all 3 sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. That's negative 7/3. Now directions just say the graph, so I'm going to put my number line over here. Put my 2 numbers there. Put a negative 7/3 and a 1 on my number line. Empty circles because it doesn't equal those 2. Now you may also write it in what's called interval notation, which you could write like this. Everything between negative 7/3 and 1 with parentheses, because it does not include the negative 7/3 or the 1. Let's look at one more. All right, one more because this is a greater than. Okay, so I'm thinking numbers are further than 1 away. So that means the 5 minus 2x has to be either greater than 1, or to be further than 1 away the other way in the number line has to be less than negative 1. And I'm just going to solve both of those. So I'm going to move the 5 over here, which should make it negative 4. Now don't forget this, I'm about to divide by negative 2. When you divide it by negative, remember you flip the sign, so that's 2. Here, move the 5 over. That gives you negative 6. Divide by negative 2. Don't forget to flip the sign. These are supposed to be equal, so I forgot the equal sign. And 3. So there's my answer. So if I put those 2 in my number line to graph it, I'm going to put the 2 and the 3. This time I would fill in the circle because it does equal 2 and it does equal 3. And you would shade that way and this way. That's why ORs go. They always go opposite directions. If you were at interval notation, you would say, you shade it from negative infinity to 2. Or I'm going to put the little union symbol, 3 to infinity. And that's all there is to it. You should have seen this kind of stuff before. No big surprise for you there today, hopefully. We'll work on several of them in class to get you really good at it. And I'll see you tomorrow.